I got to see the game's first open area in Dawnshore and explore all it had within it. I also got to see the game's prologue and character creator. I can talk about that with you, but I can't show anything, unfortunately, as of this point in time.
The culture war has been a problem for some time, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. It looks like it's going to get worse. And honestly, I just don't get it. If you realize and if you see a number of games have failed, have not done well, even giants like Dragon Age, the Veil Guard have flopped. Star Wars Outlaws flopped, and all because of what some will call the woke mind virus, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, the community has spoken with their wallets and they have decided, at least by a large majority, that they are not interested. Now, you can look at this in ways where those people making all of these YouTube videos or talking about these things in a negative light and trying to rally people around them, you know, like Grums, who I have literally no thing for at all. I can't stand the guy. I think he's completely and utterly fake. I don't think he believes a single word he actually says regarding this topic. I just think it's all about the money that comes from Exit at the end of the day. But regardless of what the motives are, people follow these DEI detectors and everything, and it has been proven to damage the games time and time again. And there is no real way out of this. If a game has an SBI detector, people are just avoiding them entirely. So when you have this sort of culture war going around and you have this sort of situation where people just need to be careful about what they're saying publicly, especially when their profile says that they are an art director for Obsidian working on Avowed, you would expect these people, regardless of whether you put on your profile, comments and reasonings and statements and whatever is my own and has no reflection on the business, the moment you put your business into your profile, you are making it their business. That is not a get out of jail free card. And what they're doing right now is actually causing damage to the game. And this could potentially cost the company millions. The last time I actually saw this, forget about the whole games that have come out recently. Like years ago, there was a title. I'm not going to get into the name and stuff because I really don't know if I should have been knowing this information. But someone decided that they would go on a messaging board as one of the producers of the game and say that the game was nowhere near as good as the original because they were making the sequel. And he decided that he was going to do this on his own machine at work. And, the company tracked it down. They found out which terminal it came from and they found the person. And in the end, they sued the person for loss of earnings and won. That person is still paying back those loss of earnings to this day. This was over 10 years ago. And they're still paying back. And I think this should happen more. Now, obviously, this will ruin lives. And maybe that's the point. Because until lives are actually ruined, people will not listen. People will not see. Because right now, we live in a society where anyone can say anything with zero consequence of anything happening at their workplace or anywhere. Now, in my opinion, and I'm going to put this right up front before we even get into the story, I do believe that this person should be fired from Obsidian. Without a shadow of doubt. This may get me blocked by some people at Obsidian. That's fine. If my opinion offends you, that is okay. But I think this person should be fired for their actions because it has not only now caused even more unrest at a time when Xbox really needs a win at the moment. They've not had that perfect win when 2024 was supposed to be their year. Avowed is now coming in 25. It's supposed to start the year off really well. And now you've got a bunch of people, and this is going to fester and grow until someone from Obsidian or Microsoft comes out and addresses this. And obviously they're not going to do that. They're going to handle this internally. So the videos and the rife is going to continue until it gets to fever pitch and potentially cause the game to fail. This isn't fair on the people working there who have done nothing wrong, and they could now be potentially losing their jobs in layoffs if the game fails. We've already seen detriments to Dragon Age is a huge game, so we can clearly see that no game is immune from this. Previously, you had games like Dustborn and Flint Rock, and I think it was Underground 9 or Unknown 9. I actually really enjoyed Unknown 9, and I didn't see anything woke about that game whatsoever. But apparently, it had SBI involvement, so people refused to buy it, and they had mass layoffs. This is happening all over the place, and it is affecting the games tremendously. So why would you decide that you are going to come out and make statements, and you didn't even think that people were going to start going back and looking for your stuff the moment this happens? We've already seen it with Ghost of Yote. We've the girl that plays the new Ghost character, she was Anna Bray from Destiny, and no one cared. But the moment she became the main character for Ghost of Yote, and she said some silly things, people decided to go and track her social media down and start bringing up all of the stuff that she said and portrayed in her own private place. And now you've got a whole bunch of people going after Ghost of Yote. It's the culture war we live in right now. It is here, and honestly, there needs to be some checks and balances within these working places because it's costing them millions. But anyway, I've spoken too much. Let's have the drop. So clearly, as you saw at the start of the video, no one was allowed to show anything to do with the character creator because they know that there is going to be a negative reaction to it with the use of pronouns. That's what this whole thing is about. Pronouns. Yes, this guy.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Get pronouns!
But you heard it at the start of the video. Pronouns are a thing that seems to trigger a lot of people. And the worst part of this is Obsidian fully well know the reaction they're going to get. And instead of trying to get ahead of this, they are trying to hide it. The moment you try to hide something like this, everyone is going to assume that you have pronouns. Now, I don't care if you have pronouns as long as it's not intrusive. Dragon Age was intrusive. Starfield is not intrusive. Life is Strange is not intrusive. There's ways of doing this. Dragon Age definitely was not the way to do this. It wasn't just about the pronouns in Dragon Age. They just went completely off key to a point where I don't know what they were doing or who was thinking it, and even their producer director came out afterwards saying that mistakes were made. But if you as a company, as a studio, are scared to show your character creator because of what might because you know what the reaction is going to be, then clearly you know that you shouldn't be doing it. If you are scared of the sales that are going to be affected by it, there are refund policies out there and you're going to lose that money anyway. Now, I'm not saying that developers shouldn't be able to do whatever they want creatively. It's up to them, it's their game, but there are consequences when you're doing this, whether I agree with it or not. But the action that they've taken by putting a massive embargo on it has now put a massive red flag on the game anyway. And naturally, it was going to leak anyway. So trying to do what they did was beyond stupid. But anyway, you've got Grums here leading the charge as usual. I'm drawing a line. I'm rejecting any game that has pronouns in it. I mean, whatever, fine, reject it. Elon Musk then comes in and says having pronouns in a fantasy video game is utterly unacceptable. And to a certain degree, what does a lizard man care for pronouns? Like, realistically. If you've got like a amphibian, what does it care for pronouns? It doesn't. So, when we're breaking it down, I totally get it. Like in a game like Life is Strange, it actually makes sense. But in a game like this, it absolutely doesn't. But Matt Hansen decided that he's going to take it one step further and say sickos.jpg, thinking that putting it on Blue Sky, where it's not as populated, is going to be okay. So he can hide behind stuff and say what he wants. And obviously, this is the internet. You can't do that. I wanted so badly to make him mad with my game, and I cannot believe it actually happened. So what this is telling you now, and even if it isn't what is reflected to the rest of the working team who actually, built this game in a really, thoughtful way, the only reason pronouns are in this game is to piss off Elon Musk. And don't get me wrong, for some people that is enough of a reason. But you have basically come out and said that the only reason pronouns are in this game is to piss off Elon Musk, and you can't care less about any other player in the world that is against this in the culture war that we have right now. And it continues to say, just wait until you see the default, you sad little shite. This is wrong, right? This is the art director. This is a sackable offense. You shouldn't be doing it. This is going to cost them potentially millions of dollars in sales. This is I don't understand why companies are still allowing this sort of crap to happen over and over and over again. People need to be made examples of. That story that I told you was a real story. It's a true story. Unfortunately, it didn't really get public, knowledge because it was kept under wraps. Like I said, I wasn't giving any details, but if any one of them actually watched this video, they will know exactly who I'm talking about. But the reality is, this needs to be made an example of publicly, so the next developer that wants to come out and publicly say something stupid like this, they will think twice. Because this ain't it. And Microsoft right now, especially in their current state, doesn't need this. And when, forgetting about Microsoft for a second, what he's done here is completely disrespected everyone within the company at Obsidian. He's put all of their jobs on the line. This is wrong. Now you've got this over here, and you can see Level 36, Lover Maker of Things, Art Daddy at Obsidian Entertainment, Art Directing, Avowed. So the fact that you put all thoughts and nonsense on my own is completely and utterly irrelevant, because you've decided that you're going to associate yourself with the company. You didn't have to do that, but you made that choice to do it. And then it gets worse, because this happened, right? Reminder to black artists out there who are looking for portfolio reviews or job advice. My DMs are open, and you will always have priority. So only to black, right? So if you're Indian, Chinese, white, you have no priority or no way of getting a job within the art industry or art department at Obsidian. You are being racially discriminated against, and you are basically told that you, because of your skin color, are not wanted. This is what Matt is saying. He deserves to be sacked for this. Then it gets worse, right? We got too many crusty white dudes in this field. So he's now being racist to white people. White people can be racist towards white people, right? He's now being racist as well. Please let me help you replace me one day. I want to go back to living in the woods. Dude, nothing is stopping you from going into the wilderness, living your life, hugging trees and living with, the indigenous species out there. Go do what you like. No one is stopping you. But this is beyond disgusting. People say you can't, white people can't be racist. Of course you can't be racist towards white people. Of course you can. This is beyond disgusting, right? And then it's, Elon says here, it should not be acceptable for any company in the gaming industry to be racist and sexist white guys. Now, it shouldn't be acceptable to be racist and sexist, period. So Elon, I don't know what he was trying to, actually the point he was trying to convey here, because I'm not actually understanding it, but it shouldn't be acceptable, period. And then, this dude says, oh, Elon, you sweet summer child, This will only embolden me, you sad sack. You know, so he's saying that I'm going to be even more racist and sexist. This is wrong. This should not be happening. I just don't understand. Now, obviously, it's down to Microsoft and Obsidian to deal with this. This will probably be dealt with behind closed doors, and hopefully it's not just a slap on the wrist, but a strong message now needs to be sent out to all parties within the gaming industry. This is happening more and more as more developers come out and say stupid shit that is actually going to affect the game. We've seen it affect games. We've seen it cause studio closures. We've seen it cause layoffs. We've seen it have detrimental effects where games just do not sell because of any form of DEI. And, you know, some of it is just dumb, right? Like the South of Midnight situation, that is purely dumb. People going after that is beyond stupid. There is nothing there that you can tell me is DEI, right? It's just beyond dumb. Some people are trying to say that they race swapped. There is no proof of this. That's just, the Grums community trying to be the Grums community in trying to make something out of nothing. So, South of Midnight is, totally fine. I've got no problem with that. I'm really looking forward to that game. I am going to play Avowed, right? I have my thoughts on what I saw. I wasn't overly blown away, but I am going to play it because I have respect for the other developers who aren't this arsehat trying to come out and make a point that is just beyond stupid. Obsidian, Microsoft, you need to come out and set an example. This dude should be fired. I'm sorry, but, this close to Christmas, no, I don't want anyone in general to lose their job. But if you're going to come out and say stuff like this, and then, it's just, you can't do it. You just cannot do it. Now, this is obviously from March, the last one that I read, but the others are very, very recent, right? Very recent, especially after the reveal. It just doesn't make sense to me why you think, as an individual, that it's okay to put all your colleagues' jobs on the line. Why you think it's okay to put all of your colleagues' jobs in danger because you can't keep your mouth shut. You work in a very volatile industry, and obviously he's clearly made his point that he couldn't care less if he had his job or not. So fire the guy. He clearly doesn't care. I'm pretty sure the other 500 or 1,000 people that are working on the game absolutely care for their jobs. This one clearly doesn't because he wants to go tree hugging in the woods. So let him do that. Anyway, that's my rant on this out of the way. Because, it's just sad. It's just really sad that this is happening. And I think it's just stupid. And like I said, examples need to be made. Period. End of story. Because until we start seeing people being made examples of in some of the harshest ways possible, publicly, people are not going to stop. But if you start seeing this shit happening and people, companies pointing it out and holding these people accountable for the loss of millions that potentially could be happening, then the next developer that comes along or the next activist that comes along that's going to see this is going to think twice about doing this and saying stupid stuff like this. Do it in your own private Twitter without any, your own private profile that has no affiliation to the actual company. But the moment you put your position working for the company, you are basically insinuating that the company itself believes in your values. And I can almost guarantee that Obsidian do not believe in Matt Hansen's values. Anyway, I'm annoyed enough as it is at this, so I'm going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed this content or found it useful or informative, I highly urge that you do play the game. This one arsehat isn't enough to actually, ruin someone's enjoyment or experience from the game. And I'm hoping that the pronouns are going to be exactly like the way they are in Starfield, where they're just not intrusive in any way, shape, or form. If they are to the level of Dragon Age, well, rip another game, and rip another studio, and rip all the employees. It's just what it is. And It's insane that they still, to this day, continue to go down this route, knowing that that is exactly where the journey ends. And the fact that they were scared to show the, the character creator tells you everything. That tells you everything. They know that it's going to have a negative backlash. They know that it's a bad thing right now in this culture war, and yet they still choose to do it. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But coming out like this, Matt Hansen did, is definitely not it. There are so many better ways to handle this. But that one was pretty much just taking the safety pin off the grenade and setting it off in a room full of people. He just wanted to create as much collateral damage as humanly possible. And, congratulations. He actually did. Let's just hope the company take him out with it. Anyway, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.